righty. Okay, so I think you all know that I come here because I need this as much as I love to share and offer and teach. And I'm just so grateful to be here. Contextually, it is July 9th, 2022. Okay, we are still in intense times. And without going into too much detail, what I do want to say today is that our flow today is around grounding and uplifting. So we're going to really hold that capacity to kind of root. It's a very hip focused class and lower body and kind of dropping the center of gravity down into the hips, and then simultaneously some heart opening. So it's a enjoyable and I think necessary combination in our world right now, that we can really feel the connection between our kind of lower chakras, if you want to think about it that way, and our power center connected to our heart center. So that is my intention. I will just name that it's helpful to have a strap and 1 or 2 blocks. And I'm calling today's class Gathering Light. Gathering Light. And on a very light note, which is sometimes helpful to have in challenging times, I was out of the office. I was away last week in the wilderness, and I went to a place that I have walked by. I've kind of circled around this place. I believe that I have dreamt of this place, but it was the first time that I actually stood on this land. It's a particular lake called Crater Lake, and it's in the Indian Peaks Wilderness. And it's about an 8-mile hike in to get there. And it also requires a special permit to be able to spend the night there, which we secured on the day they opened the permits. And my husband and I were there with like 2 computers trying to get this permit, because it's a very coveted spot, especially for July 4th weekend. And it was everything I had hoped it would be. It's this cirque of these peaks of mountains surrounding this absolutely pristine lake with waterfalls flowing into it, surrounded by wildflowers. The only downside is it also had a lot of mosquitoes. So some of you may have watched my little video that I recorded on location there. And there's a point in which I'm, kind of brushing a mosquito off of my shoulder. But the recording, I cut it short because they found me as soon as I started to sweat. They were like, I became the mosquito magnet. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. But anyhow, I think it is incredibly necessary that we find those places that bring us to an experience of everything that this world is capable of giving us, that degree of light and spaciousness and freedom and purity. I mean, it just moved me at a soul level. And I know that as I fulfill that within myself, whether it's going up to that pristine lake, or whether it's my evening walk around the little pond that's near my house that has these extraordinary sunset reflections. But whatever it is for you that fulfills that purpose, we need it now. And to keep allowing yourself to gather light. So I have a few quotes and pieces to share before we go into movement together. The first is a poem that I wrote at the lake, and it goes like this, and it's somewhat, and you'll hear this in a moment, inspired by the great Mary Oliver, whose poetry I read a lot. So this is my own. I come to the wild places to nourish my body. This is where I come to my senses, quiet my mind, and find the silent one inside. I walk in the wilderness to settle into a deep connection with my soul. I come to listen to the land and learn her lessons. I allow the light to fill me, to support the easy unfolding of my heart petals, where gratitude flows unobstructed like a fresh mountain spring. And I remember that I was born of love, for love, and to love. So the next quote that I want to share is by Clarissa Pinkola-Estes. And if I had a kind of life motto, I sometimes pull from hers. I mean, certainly her book, The Women Who Run with the Wolves, has been on my bookshelf since I was in my 20s. But this particular quote comes from an article that she wrote for awaken.org, I believe, and you can find it if you just look up her name and Awaken. And it's relevant right now. It's relevant. So what she writes is, to display the lantern of soul in shadowy times like these, to be fierce and to show mercy toward others. Both are acts of immense bravery and greatest necessity. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help to calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things you can do. So we're here to ignite each other, right? You ignite my soul light, my inner lantern, and vice versa, I hope. And I'll close out this first kind of intention setting for our class of gathering light with a poem by Mary Oliver, the very one that inspired mine. When I am among the trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, stay a while. The light flows from their branches and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into this world to do this. And you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine. All right. With that said, I'm going to shift onto my yoga mat and we're going to gather some light together. Thank you for being here. All righty. So I have a nice little strip of light from the sun next to me here. Let's go ahead and rub our palms together. Give yourself a little bit of centering and perhaps your own intention setting in this moment. And then coming into just a gentle stillness, and either with your palms touching or just even lightly apart, moving towards and away, and just feeling the energy that you wake up in your hands. And then bringing your palms to your face and remembering that everything is an invitation. If anything that I offer doesn't feel right for you, doesn't serve you, just drop it. As always, I offer a little bit of challenge in my classes. And if those challenges aren't right for your body, don't worry, they're short-lived. All right. So just moving from forehead to ears, across your eyebrows, your cheekbones. Maybe greeting your ears and rolling out through the earlobe, and even maybe that little tragus, that bit of cartilage in front of your ears, giving that a little bit of a squeeze with your thumb and fingertip. If it feels okay for you, you might even trace the inside of the concha, the seashell of the ear, and just allowing yourself to feel that connection. I read something recently that the concha of the ear, that internal space that kind of goes between where the ear canal is and then up around the lobe, but that internal space is 100% vagal fibers. So giving that a little bit of self-massage doesn't hurt, right? And then from here, a invitation to take your hands to opposite shoulders and just rub down towards your elbows. If you want to move past elbows all the way to your hands and give your hands a little bit of a gentle greeting of each other, you repeat that a few times. And then from here, an invitation to clasp your hands together and to place them at the back of your head and to just gently rest your head in your hands, and your hands are there for support. And we'll add in, come just a little closer so you might see me better. We'll add in a little bit of eye movements here in this shape. So we'll, with that hands behind the head and your elbows wide, taking your eyes all the way towards your right elbow. And so the chin and head aren't turning, just the eyes reaching, and a few breaths. And since yoga is rooted in self-study, it's that opportunity to notice what changes with each of these practices. What are the subtle awakenings that occur? And then bringing your eyes back to center, moment to recalibrate, receive, and then bringing your eyes all the way to the left. You might notice that one side is a little easier than the other. I know for me, as I gaze left, my chin wants to follow. And so you just get to know your body, just like we all have one hip that's a little tighter. So just noticing with your eyes which side is a little bit more easy, a little bit more resistance. And there's no better or worse or right or wrong. I'm just going to work with what is. Maybe you notice an impulse to take a deeper breath or even to yawn. And then slowly bringing your eyes back to center and releasing your hands. And we're going to follow that with a breath practice. So you'll get a sense of our theme here in a moment, but we'll do an alternate nostril pranayama. So either folding in your first two fingers or your first finger and using your thumb to close off your right nostril and inhaling through the left. And then slowly switching the hand, closing off the left nostril, breathing out the right. And inhaling right. And exhaling left. Inhaling left. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. And exhaling left. One more round on your own. And then as you finished, an exhale through the left nostril, releasing your right hand. Coming back to breath, awareness, and your intention. I'll offer up the words, I am here to gather light, to go easy, and to shine. Lovely. So I will invite you from here to come into a little bit of spinal movement. So we're just going to rotate upper body around your legs, your pelvis. We're not here too long, just a chance to kind of greet and arrive and start to settle into your hips. So you really feel the bowl of the pelvis. We'll go in the opposite direction. This three-dimensionality of your body. Maybe inhale forward, exhale as you come back. Good. And then coming up through center and a chance to hold your shins, ankles here and using that contact, drawing your heart forward and exhale back. And so just some gentle movements forward and back. Again, you might inhale forward and exhale back, and you can use your hands here as almost like a little bit of traction here. So you can draw your shoulders back as your heart comes forward. And you can even use the hands and push away. Good. So you might stay with hands on the legs, or you might bring your hands here to your shoulders for robin's breath. Opening, maybe lifting the chin and exhale. Elbows come together, give it a squeeze. And you can stay with the breath through the nose, or maybe you decide to exhale through the mouth, let something go. Might even let that get a little fierce. Stick your tongue out. A little lion's breath in there. One more like that. And then opening your wings to fly, reaching broad. And then on the exhale, maybe pressing your palms firmly together. Press, press, press. And inhale, find that freedom. Back to the contraction. One more. And then releasing down. From here, an option to lean toward your right. You can place the right hand on the earth. You can leave left hand near your hip, or maybe reaching the left arm up overhead. And your gaze can be down, forward, or up. And then as we lift up on this side, we're going to keep right ear towards right shoulder, okay? And you might even take right hand just to support your head here. You might reach the left fingertips away, and you might play with gaze, taking your gaze down towards your right elbow or right shoulder. Maybe you play with your gaze, taking it all the way to the left corners of their sockets. And then softening your gaze to center, allowing right hand to bring your head back to center. And a moment here to receive and recalibrate any natural movement that integrates the eye movement and the neck release. And then leaning into the left side, left hand maybe on the earth, maybe right arm at your hip or overhead. Greeting your side body, awakening through your spine. And then as we lift up, taking left ear towards left shoulder. So we're breathing into the right side of the cervical spine. Maybe your left fingertips come in for some little kickstand of a support here. Maybe your right fingertips reach away. Maybe your gaze all the way towards your left elbow or left shoulder. And then breathing into the right side of your neck. Maybe your gaze comes all the way towards the right corners of their sockets. And softening gaze. Head back to center with support. And receiving. Okay. From here, an invitation to come into what I'll call heart twists. Heart twists as hands on your heart. We're going to reach out to the world as we turn towards the right and then back to center and reach and turn towards the left and return. So as you're moving, explore how you want to breathe with this. Do you want to inhale into the twist and the reach and exhale to center? Do you want to exhale into the twist and reach and inhale to center? Knowing there's no right or wrong, explore how your body responds to breath. And then returning to center with both hands when you feel even. An option to continue with those gentle heart twists, or to come into a more vigorous twisting practice. So this comes from the Kundalini yoga tradition with your hands on your shoulders. And we're going to twist left to right and inhale left, exhale right. And it can be more rapid, but listen to your body. Inhaling to center. And exhale, releasing your hands, pausing for just a moment, and once again receiving, just integrating any of the energetic experience or expansion, as well as any kind of physiological adaptations to a rapid movement and breath practice. All right, we're going to move a little bit down in the body here. Let's get into the hips, and I invite you to come into cobbler's pose, bringing the soles of your feet together. And you might even take your hands to your feet for a moment, giving them a little bit of love. And I get you connecting to your souls, okay. And here's where having that strap might come in handy in a moment. I'm going to invite you to bring your right leg up with you, and you can kind of balance a little bit by drawing that left foot in if you like. And we'll start out just by rocking into that right leg. And you might bring that leg a little closer. You might even wrap elbows around foot and knee. And then from here, and I'll show this first with the strap. You don't need a loop in your strap, but I happen to have one. But if you don't, you can just wrap the two ends of the strap around your foot. And then with the strap around the foot, an invitation to send your foot out. Now, if you're one of those people that grabs your toe, and then you don't need the strap, and that's okay. Even if you can grab your toe, it's sometimes nice to kind of have the strap. It gives us little go-go gadget arms, if you're familiar with that reference point. Gives a little bit extra length to lengthen your spine, so we're not creating a compression. And then with the leg and the strap, you might take your leg out to the right a little bit. You can counterbalance with your left hand in any way you need. And then perhaps as we bring the leg to center, switching the hand on the strap and then taking it across your body. And you might even bring your gaze over to the right. And very likely you'll start to sense the IT band on the outer right leg and sending some breath there. And we'll do one more to each side, switching the strap, opening. You might even gaze to your left. And then crossing midline. Part of our theme here for this initial practice is crossing our midline multiple ways, going the other direction. Good. And then from here, we can undo the strap, sending your right leg long, and just a gentle greeting of the back of your right leg once again. And also you can use your hands just to sweep down your right leg, waking up sensory awareness through the contact with your skin. Lovely. Okay, and then back through to cobblers, feeling left and right sides, maybe giving your feet a little love once again, massaging your toes, balls of the feet, your Achilles tendon, you have those places that are, that feels so good. Okay, and then we're going to bring the left leg up with us. And just starting with some real gentle, maybe wide hip circles or rocking of your leg back and forth. And perhaps bringing your leg a little closer in and rocking the baby here. And then that option to take your strap and kind of lasso your left foot and give it a little bit of lengthening here. So just get used to what it feels like and the length of your strap. And again, if you don't have a strap and you're reaching the toe, good on you. But even if you can, see what supports you to have a nice long spine, right? And then maybe opening your leg to the left and then crossing to center, switching hands and crossing midline, maybe lengthening your left arm and your gaze back behind you. Noticing what wakes up. And then we'll take it to each side once again, coming through center, maybe this time gazing right, maybe floating that right hand if you don't need it on the ground. And across midline and opening to the left. Beautiful. Back through center, releasing the strap, sending your left leg long, and some very gentle opening, awakening. You can sweep your hands down, legs to ankle or foot if you reach there, and sending your breath to the back of your left leg. Okay. This time drawing both feet in. I'm going to turn to the side for this one. And we'll come into a reverse tabletop. So feel out for yourself whether you want your fingertips facing you or if you prefer them facing away, right? You can do this one either way and just get some feedback from your wrists, what feels good. And then perhaps lifting through your hips, and you might need to adjust the space of feet and hands. And we're not here too long. I'll invite you to kind of lower and lift. Maybe inhale down, exhale, lift. Just two more. And then settling your hips down, turning your palms back this time so your fingertips are facing away and maybe slightly out. So you've got nice broad space for your shoulders and your chest here. And the invitation at this point is perhaps to come into a breath of fire. Now, that may not serve you. You may say, nope, I don't want to do that. And that's just fine. You're just going to come into a long, deep breathing. You're going to get great benefit either way. And if you are coming into breath of fire, maybe we'll, kind of imagine again that we're gathering light either way with the breath. And we're going to draw the navel towards the spine on the exhale and inhale, expand. And again, it has a rapid quality. Good. Inhale here. Long, deep breathing. And exhale, empty. And again, and maybe your spine moves with the breath. Inhale to fill. Exhale, let it go. And one more time. Lovely. Okay. From here, maybe bending your elbows a little bit just to take that right ankle across the left knee, and then you can lengthen up again. So the nice thing about a figure four in a seated position is you can adjust how close or far you want that left foot, or how much height of your chest towards your leg. So you really get to play a lot with adjusting how much sensation you're going to get in your right hip. And maybe you rock a little bit with your legs side to side. Again, sending your breath, very breath-centered practice today, sending your breath into your right hip. Okay, and then we'll bend the elbows. It's enough to free up that right leg and switching sides, taking your left leg in. And maybe just like we explored before, get to know which is your tighter hip. You have one of those? I do. I just get to know it. Letting your breath, like you could breathe through a straw, that intentional breathing right into any area of tension. Lovely. And you can bend the elbows, giving space to uncross your leg. And we're going to come onto the back, and I will invite you to bring your strap and a block with you. Okay. So starting on the back in what's going to feel, again, like a familiar theme that's building, and we're going to use our strap. And either with a loop or just kind of wrapping two ends around your right foot. You can start out keeping your left leg bent, or maybe you extend your left leg long. And maybe keeping your left hand on your left hip for a moment, and just sending your breath into the back of your right leg. So I love using the strap here. Again, maybe you're one of those people that's going to grab your toe, but it often creates some kind of contraction unless you're super uber duper flexy. So I like the strap because it allows my right shoulder to really settle into the mat. See if you can really drop the right leg into your right hip socket. And then keeping your hand grounding on your left hip, maybe using your right arm to just open a little bit to the right. And you get to choose that range of motion. There's no goal, just kind of getting to know the inner right leg and range of motion here. You might find some subtle movements or stay still. And eventually coming back through to center. We're going to switch hands on the strap. You might take your right arm out to the side, kind of in a T shape. And then I invite you, as you take the right foot across, we're just going past midline and maybe 6 inches to a foot beyond, so that we're just really kind of getting into that outer right leg and IT band. Right, so we're not so much going for a deep spinal twist as much as a release of your right hip. So just a little breath there. For me, I also notice this in the back of my right calf, and perhaps you do too. Good. And then back through to center. We'll rebend left leg and unhook the right foot. And maybe you notice the difference between right and left leg for a moment before we go into side 2. When you're ready, wrapping your left foot, you can keep right knee bent, or maybe you extend right leg long. And a few breaths right here. Just finding your way in, really settling your left leg, connecting all the way into your hip socket. Using your breath to receive the shape. Right hand on your right hip, and maybe you begin to open towards the left. I like to kind of give myself a little bit more length on that strap, and either stillness or some kind of oscillating, gentle rocking movements of your left leg, breathing into the inner leg line and your outer hip. And then up through to center, switching hand on the strap. Left arm can tee out to the side and then maybe crossing midline. And again, we're not going into a deep spinal twist as much as we are getting into your outer left leg. And you might play a little bit, like if you, the angle of your foot, right? If you angle your toes a little bit more to the right or to the left, just see what amplifies sensations, just finding that edge of sensation, enough to work with. And then back up through to center, rebending and unhooking and releasing your strap off to the side. We will use it again later. As we did seated, this time right ankle crossing over your left knee, and we'll find a supine figure 4. So we're not here for too long, but enough just to greet the shape, and it's up to you. You can take hold behind your left thigh or around to your left shin. You can use the elbow inside of your right knee, pressing the right thigh away a little bit. Maybe a few kind of rotating movements of the legs. And then listen carefully. We're going to stamp the left foot down. And this time we're going to lift the hips, send them to the right a little bit as we take right foot and left knee across to the left. So now we are going into a twist, but the emphasis here is again going to be on your right hip. And you might take your left hand, grab hold of your left ankle, and then perhaps either energetically or with your right hand, begin to send your right inner thigh away from your belly. A few breaths here. And then switching it out, coming back through to center, bringing your hips back to center, unhooking right foot, maybe just a little bit of movement around your sacrum, and your left ankle can come across your right knee and coming up into a figure four. So taking hold behind your thigh or around your shin, threading the needle here, not only with our hands, but also with our awareness. So really sending breath and awareness right into sensation, very likely in your left hip. And then slowly settling right foot to the earth. And we're going to press into the right foot just enough to lift your hips, send them to the left as we send your left foot, right knee to the right. And then you can take right hand clasping left ankle and begin to either energetically and intentionally send your left knee and left inner thigh away from the belly, or just kind of imagine that happening. Okay. And sending your breath right into sensations. Super. And when you're ready, unwinding it all, hips back to center, uncrossing the legs, and an invitation to take that block and placing your block between your inner thighs. With the block there, giving a nice squeeze, and I'll invite either hands behind the head. That's going to be most supportive for your neck. And I'm going to show just options on this one. So we'll start just with hands behind the neck, just beginning to lift head and shoulders, giving that block a squeeze. So that's option one, and it's a great place to stay. Option two is to send your arms overhead as we lower down. As we exhale, send your arms forward. And inhale, lower down, and arms sweep overhead. And again, maybe just feeling that one out in your body. How does your neck respond to not being supported in this one? And option three is as we exhale, we're going to lift, pause. We're going to lift feet off the earth at an angle. We're going to lower the feet a little bit more, lift through the shoulders, and inhale down. So remember, you can stay at any previous variation. If you're joining me here, we're going to exhale, lift head, shoulders. Inhale, lengthen legs. Exhale, bend the knees a little bit higher with the upper body. Inhale down. Again, I'll talk you through it. Exhale, lift upper body. Inhale, feet lift. Exhale, feet lower. Lift a little higher with your shoulders. And inhale, reach overhead. Again. Two more like that. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Last one. Beautiful. Hands behind your head. And we'll take a variation of what we just did into the obliques, the side body. This time we exhale, left elbow towards the right, and inhale, center and down. And exhale to the left. Inhale. And maybe we add the legs. Exhale to the right. Inhale, we lengthen the legs. Exhale a little higher with the upper body and inhale down. And to the left. Exhale to the twist. Inhale, lengthen your legs. Exhale, lower your feet, come higher towards center and inhale down. Exhale to the right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to center, lift and lower. Exhale to the left. Inhale the legs. Exhale legs as you come center to lift and lower down. One more time each side. Right. Inhale. Exhale legs center. Inhale down. Exhale left. Inhale legs. Exhale legs. Center lift and down. Whew. Okay. Lots of brain work, even though we're also working the core. So this time, knees, feet to the earth, block. I'm going to go mid-setting, elbow. So blocks on my right thigh, elbow pressing into the block, thigh and elbow really greeting each other. And then lifting your head just to kind of cradle. You can start with the cradle in both hands, but we're really going to cradle into the right hand. And then from here, bringing elbow and knee together on the left, no block. Inhale, expand. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze, press. Inhale. Exhale. One last time. And then lower it down. Maybe a stretch for a moment before side two. And then let's do it. Side two. Left elbow in, left knee in, elbow and knee to block. Okay, nice firm hold. Lifting your head, cradling into your left hand. Okay, and then right elbow to knee, come into contact, and then reach away. All right, I think that's about even. Let's lower down. You can set that block to the side. And for a moment, lengthen through both legs, reaching your arms overhead. Nice long body stretch. Let it feel good. And then drawing your knees in and a few rocks on your spine. And we are going to eventually rock up and over your knees and coming into a tabletop. So a few free movements here, just arriving and integrating hip opening, our breath work, our spinal awakening, our core awakening, and how does all of that inform you in this shape? I'll invite you to explore a little bit of what I'll call kind of Ferris wheel movements here, of kind of coming between a child's pose and then rolling your spine up through kind of cow and then, or cat, I guess that's cat, and then exhale through cow back to child's and rolling up and down. And you might come the opposite direction, kind of coming up through cow and rolling down through cat into child's. And just Ferris wheeling between child's pose and table, taking yourself for a little ride. Super. And then coming back through to center to tabletop and remembering everything's an option. So here's another kind of cross lateral option for our brain and body. So we're going to turn towards the left, lifting the right foot, gaze at your right toes, and then through center, turning towards the right, gaze at your left toes as you lift your left shin. And then we're going to go side to side. So you might, again, explore a little more rapid breath and movement, or you can do this slowly. Good. And then back to center and just wiggle that out. Okay. From center, an invitation to take your right leg long behind and right knee towards your right shoulder. So it's kind of to the side, not quite under the body. And then back and behind, this time under your body, maybe gazing or even kissing your knee. Okay. Inhale towards your right shoulder to the side and back and under. Maybe that little kiss. Okay. And then back again, this time sending your toes down. And this will be familiar if you took the last few weeks' classes. We've been doing this one for a bit. So from here, maybe a few calf pulses. And then we're going to find a kind of 3 points of contact, your hands and your right foot, maybe lifting your left knee. Just for fun, lowering your left knee down. We're going to roll to the outside, maybe sending left foot behind you, coming into a modified side plank. Feeling that strength and length of your right side body, and then rotating right hand around, up and to gait pose. Up and over, and giving your left side body a little love. And then you can take left arm, maybe circling the wrist, back to the earth. This time we're reaching up with the right hand. It's like you're going to grab a little pull-up bar on the ceiling, feeling that strength of left hand, right foot, maybe lifting left knee off the earth. We're not there long, lowering down. Good. And then maybe reaching arm overhead one more time before circling back. Now listen carefully. Right toes are going to curl under and exhale, sending your left foot back. Now we're in a three-legged downward facing dog. And just like we did in tabletop, on an exhale, bringing left knee towards left shoulder. Inhale back. And left knee right under your body. Reaching back, inhale. Left shoulder again. Inhale. And exhale under your body. Inhale back. Left foot meets the right. Downward facing dog. Our first time here. And just a moment here to breathe. Maybe you lift up onto your tippy toes. Maybe you bend your knees or walk it out. Good. And then as you're ready, lowering both knees to the earth, and we'll find that same little sequence on side two. So we start out lifting left leg behind and left knee towards left shoulder. Inhale and under your body. Inhale and exhale to the shoulder. Inhale, reach under your body. Sending your left foot back. A few calf pulses here. Feels so good. And then we find our 3 points of contact on the earth. Hands, left foot, lifting right knee. Just for fun. Lowering right knee. We're going to turn into our modified side plank, maybe right toes behind you. And lifting your left arm overhead, maybe reaching long. Just let that feel good. And then rotating left wrist, a hand over the wrist is going to lift us up around into gait. Here we are. Breathing your right side body. How good that feels. And then right wrist. Give a little rotation there, all the way down to the earth. Planting right hand, feeling that nice, strong, firm connection. It's like you're going to grab that little pull-up bar and maybe right knee comes off the earth. Just feeling that strength, and then it's over. Okay, again, maybe a nice long reach. And then around. So from here, curling left toes under, sending right leg back. Ah. And then right knee towards right shoulder. Inhale back. Right down the midline, center of your body. Inhale back. Towards right shoulder. Inhale. Towards the center. Inhale up. Lowering down. And from our downward facing dog, a few breaths. Maybe you lift both heels and drop both heels to the right. Breathing into your left side body. You might bend through the right knee. And then lifting through center. Both heels lift and drop to the left. Maybe you bend through the left knee, breathing into the right side. Back through to center. Okay, offering from here is an inhale with your right leg back and behind. Exhale, we're going to draw right knee toward right tricep, like we did on our backs, right? And then step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And you might toe heel your left foot back a little bit, but eventually we're going to take the left heel down. So it's like you're in a warrior two base with your legs, but then we're going to walk the hands off the mat towards the left. So your upper body is in like a downward dog shape, and your lower legs are in a warrior two lunge. And then as you settle and reach through your upper body, really pressing into the feet, finding the depth of your lunge here, and breathing into the inner leg line of your legs. Beautiful. We're going to lift up from here and begin to walk towards your right leg again. We're going to lift the left heel. And you might keep your left hand a little bit broader, a little bit towards the outside of your mat here. As we lower the left knee, you can turn the right toes out and taking you into a dragon lunge here. And I'll show this from another angle just to kind of see where we've gone. Left knee is down, and you might use your right thigh and press away and lift your heart. Breathing that connection of belly to heart right here. Some of you might find that you want to lift through that left leg and reach behind, but there is no better or worse, right? Just finding your way into sensation. You can even explore how it feels to kind of roll onto your left hip a little bit more. Now, both feet are fully facing towards the right side of your mat, just kind of breathing into that left side body. So lots of places to explore. And eventually, we're going to bring both hands to the inside of your right leg, this time right foot facing forward. So you can have lots of choices here. One is you can walk that left knee closer or further away. You can stay lifted on your hands. You might use a block here and come into a lizard shape, one or two blocks, right? With your elbows on the blocks. Some of you might feel comfortable taking those elbows to the earth. And you might explore taking left knee away from the earth. So just finding your version of lizard. And again, it's a pretty instinctual, primal shape. So you want to just feel yourself close to the earth and really residing in your hips. Beautiful. Okay, slowly, knee can come down for this transition. Coming back to your hands. And we're going to curl the left toes under. Knee can lift now, and then maybe sending your right leg back. One last little exploration on side one before we switch sides. We're going to draw knee in towards your chest like we did. We're going to cross the ankle over the left knee and come into a down dog figure four. This requires that we have a nice deep knee bend in your left knee. So we're a figure four. We've done this on our backs. New relationship to gravity. and sending your breath wherever the sensation calls it. All right, shifting weight forward enough to unhook your right ankle from downward dog, maybe just walking it out for a moment, and an invitation to take both knees to the earth before we go into side two, tucking your toes and pressing yourself back into toes pose. So not the easiest restful shape. So if you need to just rest and go into a child's pose, go there. You can take a moment, use your fingers, broaden out through your toes. If it's a whole lot on your toes, you can lean away from them and find just the edge of sensation. And just a moment to breathe, be with. Good. And as we come forward, let's unhook the toes. You can release out through the feet by giving them a little tap on the mat. And then as we sit back onto the heels, this time an invitation to lift through each knee. So again, this might be a whole lot for your body. What I do find is that the more that we practice this one, the more that I know for myself, my body really craves that opening across the front of the ankles. You might even lean into both feet, lifting both knees at the same time. And again, if it's not for you, we're not here very long. Hallelujah. So we'll come out of that now, taking the knees down and bringing your hips up. So we'll come in and out of a gentle camel flow, an option to draw your arms open and wide. And exhale as we sit your hips towards your heels. And if you prefer your toes tucked under for this, that's an option as well. And whichever version you are exploring, it's allowing yourself to begin to really sense and feel that connection of solar plexus to heart. One more just like that. Gorgeous. Up and over, through tabletop, curling toes under, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, taking a moment, inhale, left leg behind, and exhale. We're going to draw left knee towards left elbow, and then step the foot to the outside of your left hand. And you can explore the shape for a moment, but eventually we're going to take the right heel to the earth, walking both hands off the mat towards the right side, upper body's in a downward dog type shape, lower body in warrior two. And you can explore what happens as you lengthen your spine and as you press into your hands. Maybe let go of your voice, give it a sigh. And then slowly we're walking hands closer to the inside. Maybe that right hand stays a little wide here, and you can turn the left toes out. We're going to lift the right heel and then settling right knee down as we begin to turn towards the left, right? And lots of ways to play here. So you might stay a little more uplifted. You might even explore grabbing the dragon's tail, right? You might roll a little bit more to the outside of your right leg, both feet turning to the side for a lounge lizard. Maybe reaching upper body away, feeling that stretch, that openness. And eventually, hands to the inside of your left foot as left foot toe heels back so that the toes are facing forward. And then we've got our options here for lizard. So you might stay lifted on your hands. You can always keep that right knee lifted or lowered. You might lower onto blocks or onto your elbows. And again, you might lift that left knee, maybe even reaching your heart forward a little bit. Deep hip opening right here. Just greeting and knowing what's here for you. What's the gold? What's the lantern you need to take into this space? Ooh, okay. Not here too long. We're going to come back up onto hands, right toes curling under, left foot going to come back and up. And here we've got our down dog figure 4. So left knee is going to come towards the center. We're going to cross left ankle over your right knee. And hallelujah, we have found our way into a down dog figure 4. And see what your left hip is talking about now. Okay, shifting weight forward enough to unhook left toes, this time lowering knees. Maybe bringing your heels together, your knees a little wider as we set the hips back towards your heels. And before going all the way into a release into child's pose, explore what happens as you lift the back of your head. As you come up onto fingertips, as you walk your fingertips forward just a little bit more, and then lower it down. You're creating some length here in your child's pose. Okay. And going to press back through table, curling toes under, downward facing dog. And a nice sauntering, savoring walk from your feet up to your hands. You can bend your knees when you get there, finding your forward fold for a moment. And then either rolling to stand or coming up with a long spine, your choice. We'll meet in standing. And from standing, an invitation to come into a side bend for a moment. It's greeting your side bodies in a new position to gravity. Inhale and exhale. And then back to center. So a variation here. And you might widen your feet just to give a nice strong base. So we're going to go into a little balance and feel this out, right? So you can adapt this and use a wall if you need to. So to start out, let's come into mountain with our arms outstretched above. And on an exhale, grounding into your left foot, we're going to draw right elbow and thigh together. So we did exactly this on our back, right? Except our hand was behind our head. We've been here. We're going to take our right hand now to the inside of the right ankle, and we're going to draw the right foot to the side, right knee to the side. So we've been in variations of this. And then maybe placing right foot to the inside of your left leg, finding your balance. And then maybe taking left hand behind your head, just giving some support and allowing your head to press into your hand just a little bit. So combining a few elements here. You can stay just like this. This is a good balance challenge. Or maybe you begin to lean towards the right. And you can kind of rest your right elbow in the hip crease. And you don't have to take this too far. It's a big balance challenge to come out of center. Just feel it. You might then, I don't know if my balance will hold it, right? You might reach your left arms, your left fingertips long. Just playing. And then slowly lifting back up, releasing right foot, right, to the earth. Wiggle it out. Ah, cool. Okay, grounding into your right leg. Coming into mountain. Left elbow, left knee. Drawing your left hand to the left ankle. What hand? Which side do I have here? Right? Maybe opening to the side. Maybe placing foot to the inside. And you can stay at any layer of this, right? And then great place to stay. Or perhaps coming into that side body reach and lean. And if you fall out, totally cool. Right? Maybe that hand behind the head, we didn't do that on this side. Maybe that feels good. Pressing back, maybe opening. Awesome. And slowly, back to center. 2 feet on the earth. Okay. An invitation to draw your arms back and behind. Clasping your hands, inhale, sweeping open, lifting through your heart. And on an exhale, folding forward, arms can reach up overhead for a moment. Before coming down to the earth by way of your sacrum, releasing the palms, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, planting your hands, stepping back. And either moving right into down dog, or if you prefer, coming forward, coming to halfway down or all the way to the earth, either a cobra or an upward facing dog, your flow. We meet back in downward facing dog. Either stillness or wiggle it out. And from downward facing dog, gazing forward and stepping or hopping to the front. Inhale, finding a halfway lift when you get there. And exhale. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. This time, exhale, coming into a wide-legged, bent knees, Utkatasana. You might take a moment, take your fingers to the earth before sweeping them back up. All right, in this shape, taking a moment, finding your breath, we're going to find our balance. Sending your weight into your right foot and lifting your left leg. Maybe you stay just right here, right? Maybe this is just right. Maybe you cross left ankle over right, bringing hands to heart center or behind your head or behind you, right? Feeling your way into a standing figure 4. We have a theme. And then unwinding, coming back up. This time we lean forward. We're going to progress through a temporary Dakasana or airplane before we ground to the earth, sending your left foot back, grounding your left heel, opening up. Warrior 2. Familiarity. Moment to reach away, breathe into right side body. Exhale, perhaps an extended side angle. Variations of what we found in different relationships to the earth. Inhale, reaching away again, this time lengthening through your right leg, reverse triangle. And exhale, reach, 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 rotate. And maybe gazing up to the side or down. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Softening your gaze, softening through your right knee. Inhale and exhale to the earth. Sending right foot back and your choice, pressing back to downward dog or finding your variation of a vinyasa through meeting in downward facing dog. We're going to find our way to the front of the mat for side 2, and you can bend the knees, take a sauntering walk, or hop your way there. From the front of the mat, a halfway lift, and exhale. And inhale all the way to standing. Wide-legged Utkatasana, exhale. Inhale, sweeping the arms. This time we're wading into the left foot, nice and grounded, and we're lifting the right knee. Great place to stay. Really powerful. Maybe we take ankle across and we find a variation of figure 4. Hands can be behind your head, at heart center. Elbows can come to knee ankle, or arms can come behind you. It's a big balancing shape. Pretty grounding, huh? We're grounding to take flight. So coming up, up, up. We're coming back through the shape we took, right knee lifted, and then behind, a temporary visit into airplane as we descend back to the earth, grounding right foot and windmilling around. A little footwork as you find your way to warrior 2. Inhale, reaching away. And exhale, extended side angle. Once again, extend, reach, lift, lengthen. And exhale, rotate, Trikonasana. Softening your gaze, softening through your left knee, inhale. And windmilling down your way to downward facing dog. All right, one more big transition to the front of your mat. You can walk, you can hop, however you'd like to get there. This time, I'll invite you to bring your strap with you as we transition up to standing. So we've got a fun little standing variation of what we did on our backs and what we did seated. And I'll invite you to start with that strap just resting over your right shoulder. And we'll come into mountain. One thing I'll say about coming into the Padagustasana standing series is if you're using your strap and you fall out of balance, let go of the strap. It's a little easier to get your foot to the earth. All right, so from here, we're going to draw right knee and elbow together. I want to show the variation first. We did it already, which is as we take hold of your right ankle or your right knee, you can open to the side and you can twist with that nice bent knee. And if you want to come into the standing straight leg variation, we're going to take a strap over your right foot, the ball of the right foot, and you can keep that left arm lifted or at your hip. We're going to then extend the right foot forward. Okay, just like that. And you have your strap. And again, if you're going to fall, let go of the strap. Okay. Finding your balance. This is a great place to stay. And perhaps we begin to open. Left arm to the left, right leg to the right. Classically, your gaze and head turn to the left. And then progressing back to center. Always a tricky transition here. You can take hold of the strap. And this time we're twisting to the right. We've done this already. New relationship to gravity. Feeling yourself here, that strong left rooted leg, grounded and uplifted all at once. And then coming back through to center. You can let go and send that right foot to the earth. Wiggle it out, especially your left foot if it got a little crampy in there. Wiggle out your hips, shoulders, voice. And we'll come to side two. All right. So here we are in preparation. You kind of know where we're going. You know your options. Inhale to sweep. Exhale, left elbow, left knee, right? We've been here. Maybe you're taking the knee version. Maybe you take that strap down and wrap your left foot. And from there, maybe lengthening. Right hand can be on your hip or overhead. Just honoring what's going to support you here. Staying as is, or maybe beginning to open to the side, right? Feel how that strap can really help you find that length of your spine. Maybe your head, your gaze come towards your right fingertips. Wow, right? Imagine that. Here we are, balancing in the middle of all that's happening around us, and we're doing it. We're going to come back through to center and maybe switch hands with that strap. And then we begin to turn just the upper body around to the left. And back to center. Ooh. Okay, let's let it go. Shake it out as needed. And for a moment, before we descend to the earth for some final integration, just taking a moment, feel left and right sides of your body, of your brain. Feeling that connection between hips, belly, and heart. Coming back to your intention, whatever that was for you. And releasing your hands, inhale, sweep. And exhale. I'm just going to invite you to come right back down to sitting. And we're going to come into preparation for Shavasana, but just know that, I know we're right at the official end of our time, but just know that I'm going to take you a few minutes over if that works for you, if you can stay, because I've got a breath practice planned post Shavasana, and I think you'll like it. So we'll do a brief integration here. And if you want to roll to your back, if you want to take a moment with both knees in towards your chest, and just ask yourself, are there any final movements that you need to create a sense of completion for this practice? All right, so you get to really tailor this practice for your needs. And we're going to come into a brief seated or a brief supine shavasana before we come back to seated for a breath practice. So when you're ready, sending both legs long, wide out to the edges of the mat, feet can open out, palms turning towards the ceiling. And just a beautiful receptive state. Now you get to fine tune any posture, including shavasana. If you're needing to adjust, adjust. Right? There's nothing that's holding you back. Okay. And then wiggling your fingers and your toes. There's still some time for a seated integration practice. And if you prefer to stay in Shavasana, stay there. And if you'd like to bend one knee and the other, and then either rock on your spine or roll to your side, you'll eventually meet in a seated shape. So I'm going to come a little closer at this point, and I'm going to guide you through a short breath practice before we close. And this breath practice is called Breath of Light. I think you will enjoy it. I certainly do. And finding a comfortable position that allows you to have just a nice long spine for this one so that you really feel supported. Okay. And the breath of light is a chakra breathing practice, and it invites you to take 7 kind of sips of an inhale as we move from the first chakra up to your crown. And then we exhale through the nose. So the sips of inhale are through the mouth. And I'm going to show with my hands the first time around, but you don't have to move your hands with this, and I will eventually stop. But if you imagine that you're breathing light into your root, into your second chakra, into your navel, into your heart, into your throat, into your third eye, into your crown, and then you just exhale through the nose. And if you choose, you can retain the breath just briefly at the top of that 7th sip of air. You'll get a feeling for it. So I'll begin here, inhaling through the mouth. Exhale through the nose. Inhale through the mouth. Inhaling light. Exhale a waterfall of light through the nose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Exhale. Letting go of the breath practice and receiving for a moment. You have given yourself this precious time to gather light, to go easy and to shine. And my greatest hope is that these lanterns that we have lit together are allowed to expand and float up to the sky with all of our deepest prayers for the well-being of this planet. Namaste.